Hi everyone, welcome to the Taste of Home Kitchen. My name's Josh.
And I'm Audrey.
And today we're going to show you how to decorate some Christmas cutout cookies using royal icing. Alright, so the first thing we got to talk about is the royal icing itself. Are you familiar with royal icing?
A little bit, but
Okay.
It kind of scares me.
I think a lot of people might feel that way. So when you first mix royal icing, you can see it's really kind of stiff and gloppy, and that's good. You use this consistency to outline the cookie. And then you
Okay.
also use the same frosting and just add water continually until you get this smooth icing that kind of runs back on itself, and that's what we call flood. So we're going to use both stiff and flood consistency icing to decorate our cookies today, and I'm going to show you how.
Yay!
Okay, so I've got my various shapes of cutout cookies, and we're going to start by outlining the cookie using stiff royal icing. And I'm just going to pipe some straight lines around the edge, and the reason you use stiff royal icing to outline your cookie is it helps to hold in the flood consistency icing, which is a lot more runny. So this is the flood consistency icing, and I'm just going to go back and forth, and you want to work relatively quickly. You don't want the outline to start drying, otherwise it won't merge as well.
Oh, it's a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah, it's actually pretty simple. Next I go through is if there's any little air bubbles, I'll just go through and poke those out, because as they dry, if they pop, they can mar the surface of your cookie. So there's that. That's the base of our stamped cookie. This has to dry. I usually like to let this dry overnight just to make sure it's nice and firm for when we do our stamping. Okay, so here we have our cookie that is nice and dry and hard from that royal icing that's set up overnight. And it's nice and firm because we're going to put some pressure on this when we do our stamping. But the first thing we've got to do is get our stamp pads ready. So what I have right here is just a food-safe stamp pad. And I'm going to definitely put that in a little dish. You don't want to put that on your countertop. You will have the stain on your countertop that will not go away for a very long time.
No way.
So the first thing I'm going to do is put on some gloves, because if you're messy like me, you'll end up with food coloring all over your fingers, and I'm a messy cook. Just be honest. So
And
I'm
over
going
your counter, too.
to, right? So I'm going to use some food coloring gel. I'm using gel instead of water-based food coloring because it's a little bit thicker and has a little bit more viscosity to it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit at a time. And I'm going to use my gloved finger and I'm just going to spread that around, and that's going to be enough for me to ink my stamp. I'm just going to keep doing that until I have enough all over my pad. And the really nice thing about this style of decorating is you get really beautiful, clean, crisp images. And again, you don't have to be a professional pastry chef to get these results. So here I have all of my stamp pads ready to go. And I'm going to start with a little winter wonderland theme. And so I'm going to start with blue. And I'm going to get my first little stamp all coated. And I'm just going to double check to make sure it's really nicely coated on the bottom there.
Are these just regular stamps?
Yeah, those are just regular rubber stamps from the craft store. I'm going to do my first little stamp right there in the middle of the cookie. And I'm going to give it some even pressure and kind of wiggle it around. Make sure I get the whole impression of that stamp on the cookie. And that's my first. Isn't that pretty?
Oh
and it's nice and
God.
clean. There's no piping.
No, that was so easy.
Anybody can really do this. So now I'm going to do my little, I've got a little Santa stamp here. So again, wiggling it back and forth is important to get a good imprint. There we go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Little
Look
Santa.
at that little Santa.
So now I have a little reindeer stamp. That's 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. Very simple, very easy cookie with a beautiful, clean image. And again, you don't have to be a professional chef to get these results.
It's almost too pretty to eat.